Taking that. And I think now it's working. Yay, YouTube. Sorry about the delay. This is Clear Vision Wednesday time. I am Claudia Mühlenweg and the host of the Clear Vision Wednesday show, the creator of the Natural Clear Vision Method. We had some tech issues, so sorry about the delay. YouTube asked us for some weird logins, but now we're here. And this is our fourth and final part of the age-related macular degeneration discussion. And I'm going to bring on Dr. Radka Toms. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, nice to be here, Claudia.
Yep, we had you on before. So Dr. Radka, just without giving your whole bio, because that's all in the show notes, you call yourself a nutritional ophthalmologist, right? You're working in nutrition is a really big aspect of your practice. So tell us a little bit about how that came about and why that's so important to you.
Yes, so as ophthalmologist, I look to the eye the whole day, and one day I just realized that eyes are not only windows to your soul, but also windows to your health. And also realize that if I want to really improve patients' vision, I need to improve their overall health. And I realized because I was sick myself, and I have to do this whole journey to improving my diet, improving my lifestyle. And I could see how it has completely changed my biochemistry and my really functioning of my body. So I said, wow, this is amazing. And now we know the science is there to prove it. So I'm so excited. And I just feel like I would not be a good doctor if I don't talk about diet and about not doing dieting, but having nutrition and having proper diet, because we know that 70% of population eating ultra-processed food. And we know today we're talking of AMD that nutrition has profound impact on onset and progression of AMD. Even the mechanism is not really still fully understood, but we know that this is something that we have to influence with nutrition. We can influence it greatly. So I'm excited, and today I'd like to share something about gut-eye axis.
Yeah, I can't wait to learn this. So we already had discussion about the nutrients the eyes need, the luteins, the xanthan, the acids, all these kind of pieces. But I'm really interested in this discussion too, because what we put in the mouth doesn't necessarily mean it's actually absorbed. And so tell us a little bit about what you call the gut-brain axis and how that affects our eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so today really I like to just underline the importance of human gut microbiome in ocular health, especially in the disease of AMD, and really give you some tips of new opportunities for AMD and really by targeting the gut microbiome. And so what is gut microbiome? It is something that we recently discovered by the Human Microbiome Project. You can always Google if you want to know more, but I give you as much as important data, so you don't need to Google anything, and you will have the picture. So gut microbiome is really complex ecosystem of microorganisms and their genetics that are everywhere in our eyes, in our ears, in our nose, in our mouth, and all the gastrointestinal tract, and also in the body. We have different bacteria, different place in the body, and 70% of all the microbiota are in our colon. And so when we have balanced composition, when the gut microbiome is really in symbiosis with us, with the host, this creates kind of homeostasis, intestinal especially, and overall. Because you would think that if we have the gut microbiota in our gut, that will create homeostasis in the gut, but actually it creates an influence everything else in the body. We're finding that has a really essential function on our nutrient metabolisms, and if we have good symbiotic bacteria in the balance, then we can really fight as well the pathogens better. And also what's really important, that can regulate immune function. And that's something that we know that with age, we know that the gut microbiome is really changing the phyla, as we call it, the types of bacteria, and we can be more frail because we will have not much of diversity of the gut microbiome. That is all we are finding now. There will be some study I will give you, Claudia, so people can, if they want to read about it more. There's a great study from Switzerland from 2003. I will share it with you, when they already found also linked to AMD. Again, we don't have a prescription, eat 10 grams of carrots and kale and you will create this gut microbiome, but we know that that the gut microbiome really is influencing the eye in various way, especially the retina. And we started this with mice, and we could see that they did experiment with mice born in a sanitized world, so they didn't have any gut microbiota, and they could see the different species in the mouse that were eating different types of food. So, for example, the mice that were eating the high-fat diet have different species in their gut that the mouses was eating their good diet, the low glycemic diet, and that's how that all started. I don't want to give you all the names of the Firmicutes bacteria test because you will not remember anyway. But what you have to remember is that the science is clear that the diet has profound impact on our gut microbiota, and we have to create the good microbiota. What that means, we have to create gut microbiota that really chewing the fiber, and we know that fiber is really important and we don't eat enough of it. We are fiber deficient, and as we eating the fiber, we will feed the good bacteria, and those bacteria, while they're eating the fiber, all the vegetables, will then create metabolites, and these metabolites will go to our bloodstream and do a good stuff. They will be anti-inflammatory. They will influence our immune system. There are some data that are showing as well that has influence on cardiovascular system, but especially with AMD, there is clear link. We know that from before that obesity is high risk, which, high sugar diet, it's absolutely killer. So if you have tendency, if you have already sign of early age-related macular degeneration, this is something that I would do straight away, that I would really top up the fiber consumption, which means all the vegetables, various vegetables. I'm sure you had a great speaker talking about the nutrients, all the rainbow, and that I just want to reiterate this because it's so important, because you will be feeding. Don't worry that you don't feed two people, you feed as we saying sometimes, you're feeding trillions of microorganisms. And I will just share two phyla, which is Bacteroidetes and Firmicutes. Those are the ones that are the biggest kind of family that we have to feed. And when the ratio of these two are in this balance, actually these days we can tell from gut microbiome, your age, soon we will be able to say what diseases you have. And it's really exciting science at the moment is happening, because we are uncovering all these novelties that we will be soon able to uncover. There's a great thing these days. If you are really worried and you want to be more specific, you can get tested. So Genova, it's a great company. I don't know if I can say it on this podcast, but if you Google Genova and go on Connect, you can get and buy the gut microbiome testing, and they will tell you what is your profile, if it's like symbiotic or if you have more dysbiosis. So you have more the bad bacteria that creates inflammation and influencing the retina by creating inflammation and then causing the problems in the eye, or you have the good bacteria that will be more protective. So this is great. This is really exciting. There are, if I may say, this is even now they investigating also fecal transplant, which is something that we can't just do that yet. We could do harm also, but really, if you think about your gut as something, as Mark Hyman always saying, wheat, seed, and feed. So what it means, you will first, you might need to have some antibiotics to get rid of the bad bacteria. If you have gut dysbiosis, if you were eating 20 years high sugary diet, you never have any vegetables, never have, you know, asparagus or artichokes, as artichokes is really high in fiber, you will probably have really high amounts on the firmicutes. But the thing what is amazing is that we can influence by diet the gut microbiota. So this is really positive. I am positive. If it's someone there and you want to really work hard towards your goal and improving your eyesight, as we don't have eyesight and the age-related macular degeneration, even we don't have the data, we know that with diet you can really influence the spectrum of the gut microbiota. So you can really do it basically blindly, just eating better. You will not only hopefully improve the retina, but also you will feel better because you will put your body back to balance. So this is important. So the first thing is the gut microbiota kind of the symbiosis. So we have to feed the good bacteria with the fiber. People may ask if they can have some like supplements, fiber supplements. So I would always go first to vegetables. So what I always tell my people is, so the ideal is to have 30 plants a week, various colors. So I will sit once, I still do it today. Every Sunday, I write down, and I have a list already, and I will write down 30 vegetables. And then a week, and so we have our favorites, but try to change it. And if you will start doing this routine, increasing the vegetable consumption, which might feel like today you will not be able to do that, 30 vegetables a week, it's quite a lot for some people. Maybe try one new recipe a week or something like that. Just start slow for the fiber consumption. When you will increase it, then you will really have a high chance to improve the gut microbiota diversity. And that way you will have more chances to improve your overall health, and especially the gut-eye connection as well. And as I said, it's because these good bacteria that are eating the fiber, they are producing these short-chain fatty acids, we call it. And these short-chain fatty acids are providing a really essential, they have essential function because they are helping us fight the pathogen, and they are really so anti-inflammatory, not only in the gut, but also overall in the body. If they're in the bloodstream, they go everywhere. And I don't have it here, but there's actually a supplement as well, butyric acid, that you can take, and because that's really very important for the maintenance of the intestinal barrier function for the cell, because we have only one layer of cells in the gut. So whatever you eat, the layer it's from the the gut lining has only one layer of cells and mucin layer. And very often, unfortunately, we now are finding also that age-related macular degeneration has been not causation, but association with intestinal permeability, with leaky gut, which I mentioned it on this podcast before with you. But just to remind everyone what it is that sometimes when we don't know yet if it's first dysbiosis and then leaky gut, or if leaky gut is contributing to dysbiosis, we're not sure yet, but definitely it usually goes together. And when we will lose the mucin layer that is sitting on the one layer of cells, it can easily go through the bloodstream, and then goes with the blood to our eye. And that's we found in the experiments, and this is now it's clear that this is probably happening in some people. Not everybody has tendency for leaky gut. So I usually test it with my clients, with my patients, and usually majority of people have leaky gut, but it doesn't mean that not everybody will have intestinal permeability if they have AMD, but there's a high chance that they will have. And for that, what is the best for the intestinal permeability is, again, eating the healing foods. So that really first thing is cut out the processed food. I'm sure you talked about it also before, how important it is to get rid of the sugar, get rid of the gluten. That's really causing even more opening of the gaps. So the food particles, the toxins, and all the metabolites that normally don't go to the blood, go to the bloodstream. So this is really important. Sorry, do you want to have any questions before I?
Oh my God, yeah, it's so interesting. I have so many questions, but okay. So maybe we can do a little bit of short questions answer. And I also look at YouTube. Put your questions on YouTube, guys, if you have any. So there was a couple of things that you said. So leaky gut is basically permeability of the gut lining, so it goes into the bloodstream. And now I'm totally blanking on what the most important question was. But yeah, so number one, so you recommend that people do a stool test to even know where you are, right? So otherwise, is that, yeah, right? I just did one. So it's good to actually know what's happening, what bacteria, how many good guys, how many bad guys, and what they are, so we can identify them. Eating more fiber. So I was surprised when I first learned this, but only plant foods have fiber. So you're right. So, when people eat a chicken breast and the yogurt and something, then you have no fiber in your diet. So we're not propagating a vegan diet here, but basically you need to eat lots of plants to get enough fiber in your body. And that's what you're saying is helping keeping the gut microbiome in a good shape.
It is, so just interrupt you. It's not completely clear because there are people who are omnivores and they don't have gut dysbiosis. They have good. So it's like we don't know yet. But I always tell eat PFF. So definitely fiber. But if you have on your plate PFF, which means good protein, good fat and fiber. Because I don't know if you talk about the omega-3s before. But the ratio of omega-3, omega-6 is completely, we are out of, it's so unusually low, the omega-3, and we have so much omega-6 in general public. We know that this can create so much inflammation, and we know how the omega-3s are really important for especially for AMD. We know that the high intake of omega-3 is associated with decreased risk of AMD, and some scientists are saying that the disproportion ratio of the omega-3 omega-6 it should be like this, omega-3 omega-6, but because we're eating so much of processed food, soybean oil, corn oil, and all these bad oils, that just the way how they produced, and they are rich in omega-6, this creates so much inflammation. And just imagine that every cell in the body has a lipid membrane. So if you in a good, instead of good oil, you put there the omega-6, like how long it will take before you change the cell, and it's so complex a mechanism. So we are harming our body if we really eating wrong fat. It's not only the sugar and the processed food, but yeah, in the processed food is the sugar, the gluten, and the bad fat, really. So that's, I want to, again, really the ratio of omega-3, omega-6, again, you can get it test. It's Omega Quant company that they test, and it's not expensive, and you will know straight away how you are. I know that you have great source of omega-3, you showed me last time. I like that sometimes this algae oil, right?
Yeah, that's what you yeah.
Yeah, so any if people eat seaweed or they eat fish, I would only go, if you're eating fish, go for smash. So it's salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. Because if you go for tuna or these big fishes, they can be contaminated with mercury. So you think you're eating well, and then it's on the other side, you're having other problems. So this is something that is really important. But the omega-3, omega-6 ratio it's so essential. And I love algae, and I love flax seeds. Like, I think if you ask me what
chia seeds, hemp seeds,
yes,
right, those sources.
and if you ask me what I will take for desert island, it will be blueberries and flax seeds.
I would be chia seeds and blueberries, but
really?
I have to do it. I did a test in the past, and even though I really worked hard, and I even did putting it into like an app where you can see all the nutrients, For instance, walnuts have really high omega-3, but almonds have really bad omega. So I was only eating walnuts out of nuts, not only eating walnuts, but I didn't eat any other nuts. And it was still really challenging. I think I got to like a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 ratio, but when I was really purposefully doing it and taking a supplement too. So it's, thank you for bringing that up again. It's super important.
It's so important. Yeah.
Can I ask something? So there's two things I want to ask, and let me maybe see what makes sense. First, I want to ask about fermented foods, right? Because it's like a hot topic: kimchi, sauerkraut, all this kombucha, all the fermented foods. That was one question I had. Is that helpful, or if the gut is in dysbiosis, do we need to clean it up first? And what is there any research on fermented foods?
Exactly. So yes, so there is a lot of science. Actually, one study is from Stanford a few years ago, when they actually they were having group of people on fiber, group of people of fermented food, and group of people on fermented food plus fiber. So that's why I want to change the PFF to PFF plus F. It's too much. So I'm happy with PFF for start, but then fermented food is the next. People have to, because this is something that it will help us to create more bacteria. But there are a few issues, of course, because many people, when they have gut dysbiosis, they can have SIBO, like small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. And when they have fermented food, they will be in a lot of pain. They will have like food baby. So also people, when they have leaky gut and when they take some, high strength probiotics, this can be actually harmful, because then all the bacteria, and their metabolites, they can go through the wall, the gut wall. So it's not straightforward. I think the best will be if people can find in the area some practitioner, they can guide them. If they have like so problematic digestive system, if you have bowel movement every day, if you can eat vegetables and you're not so bloated, then I would definitely go for sauerkraut. But again, like it's not rocket science, like it is amazing science, but really we have to just simplify and look like who was like what your grandma and grandpa was eating. And because we inherit our gut microbiome from mothers. So if I'm Inuit, or if I'm Japanese, I will be really well off eating seaweed, but I'm not. I am from East Europe. I'm Czech, so I'm very well off eating sauerkraut.
Same here as German.
Exactly. Yeah. And I cannot tolerate much of coconut oil, because if someone is from Thailand, they should have, or India, they would have really, they will thrive after coconut oil. So we have to really look what our ancestor ate, and I think this is the best guidance. And I absolutely dislike this camps like certain dieting. No, we have to learn and find what is diet for you. So it will be Claudia diet, will be Radka diet, and when you will start feeling your body, you will learn so much. The first thing is cut off the bad stuff and replace it for good stuff. So the ultra processed food, anything sugary drinks, I would, even with the artificial sweeteners, we know that as well is detrimental for the gut microbiome. So that's really important. And then slowly and gradually work towards the PFF plus F. Protein, fat, and fiber, and fermented food, definitely kimchi, sauerkraut, miso, kombucha as well. But with kombucha, I like to warn you a little bit that always buy in the glass bottle, and always look for kombucha that has like it's a little bit dusty on the bottom, because if it's clear, there's not much of the probiotic content. There is just another soda kind of thing. So, and also ingredients, of course there is a sugar, because you need sugar for the fermentation, but it should not be like added, or what I don't like, if I read what they write, natural enhancers or juices, and like so vague. No, I don't take that. Sourdough is good for those people who likes bread. I would completely cut off any bread that has like more than 3 ingredients, unless those are nuts and seeds. But for bread, really, what you need? Only flour, water, and salt. That should be ingredients for bread. And I know how in America it's so difficult to buy bread. You're on the West Coast, so maybe it's better, but on the East Coast, even in Whole Foods, they knew me there because I always went and was waiting for this particular bread. It was only bread that was not with sugar, which is really, I mean, we should not bake bread with sugar, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, you did say we should stay away from gluten if we have leaky gut, but I think what it boils down to, I'm actually working with a functional medicine doctor now too to optimize my health, because, you know, even if you do the test yourself, you know, and if you're not an expert, you don't really know what you're looking at, right? So I think it's important to actually have support. I look at YouTube questions at the end. There's some good comments in there. But I'm wondering, you talked about the microbiome in the eyes, and you also talked about, now I forgot something with leaky gut, but floaters is not our topic today, right? Obviously, but floaters, a lot of us get more floaters as we get older, or other eye things. And what about the microbiome in the gut and the eyes? What if we put eye drops, or if we put is that how, because right, the gut, we eat things, right? But in the eyes, how is that composed, and how can we do anything about that one? How is it tested? I've never heard of a test for the eye microbiome.
This is something that there is, as we have different microbiome in our nose and our face, different is on the nose compared to cheeks. There are also areas that we have different microbiota on the eye, in the eye. But what I like is that people who have dry eyes still, probiotic drops, I don't know, are they on the market? Not really. I didn't experience that yet. When they come to market, I think this will be something really interesting, especially for people with dry eyes. But again, even we will find something on the surface, the inflammation is coming from the within, from the vessels. It's again, it's back to the gut.
Right.
Like if we don't fix the gut, you know, we can play on the surface unless it's something on the surface that needs attention. Like for example, Demodex mites, if you have on the eyelashes, which you can find out if you know, it has like a little crust around each hair on the eyelashes. We use ivermectin to use it. It's off-label, but we use it and we have great results. So that's basically you changing the microbiome, because Demodex for some reason take over the whole other families, and they're just causing inflammation. Same is with rosacea.
Say that again. So it's on the
Demodex. It's on the eyelashes. People have dry eyes, blepharitis. Blepharitis can be caused by Demodex, which is imbalance of the microbiome, and Demodex have the win, and then they will cause inflammation. Same is on the skin. You know that I have, that's my passion, because I had rosacea myself 10 years ago, and same thing. Demodex mites can sometimes cause rosacea, but again, it's on the surface. We can definitely influence that, same like the eye. But studies also on a dry eye showing that influencing the gut is the way to go forward, because some of the gut microbiota influencing the lacrimal gland actually. It's fascinating. We don't know much, but there are, you know, certain kind of ideas, and we just have to connect the dots by the time when we have more studies. I know we have to have more studies. I mean, I don't need to have more studies to find what is good for my body, but to help patients to improve their AMD, we need that's the medicine. We have to just you know, follow the medicine, evidence-based medicine. So, but I can tell you clearly that there is link with gut for sure, and some of the bad bacteria. I mean, corneal ulcer will be as well. Kind of, you know, dysbiosis, because if the one bacteria will take over of the good bacteria, then you have inflammation. So we know that, and for that we use antibiotics. But I don't know. We have to wait with this a little bit to play and to have more kind of understanding what's really going on. But yeah, some of these we know already.
I'm curious about fasting, because the first time I noticed that was years and years and years ago, where I noticed that something with my gut wasn't right. When every time I fasted for like, anywhere from like 1 day to 5 days or something, I had no like belly aches, no bloat, and I'm like, okay, interesting. So I clearly know that there's something connected to the diet that I'm eating. And that was like, before I ate really healthy. But I'm curious about fasting. I read some studies that intermittent fasting, which is restricting your eating window per day, or maybe even skipping a day. There's different models of intermittent fasting that can help prevent AMD, or maybe even help, and I don't know if we even know of any reversal, or I'm curious, like, because everything you talked about is super important in terms of prevention, but what if you already have it, or what if you want to really do even more to prevent it? What about fasting?
Yes, so fasting definitely. But before I will talk about fasting, I would love to share that you have to get nutrients enough to be able to fast.
Yes.
Because the worst thing is if you go for this, high glycemic diet, that can lead to AMD. That we know that it was shown in murine retina from the mice, that we can create AMD by feeding the mouse high sugar diet, and then reverse it with low glycemic diet. So we know that. So if people are interested to fast, it's really important to do it correct way, because those people who will be interested fasting and have AMD, they will be probably 50 plus, I don't know, 50 plus, 60 plus. And in this age, it's so important that we don't develop sarcopenia, which is really can be detrimental. We need to have and build muscles, something that I do all the time. And fasting, if you do it the wrong way, this I'm talking from my own experience. 10 years ago, I fasted in the wrong way, and I started losing my muscles. And I'm thinking, oh, I can't do it like this. So it's really important, if you decide to fast, that in the eating window, you have enough and of good nutrients. So I really, my hair are going up when I see on social media people promoting fasting, and then they have like really ultra processed food, or they can have ice cream or something like that, and not nutrients. So the body has some building blocks to build, muscles and like function. And so some people might have, twitches, and because they have low magnesium, they can develop nutrient deficiencies, and really the body will not optimize well. They might lose weight, but they will not lose muscles, but they will lose they will not lose fat, they will lose muscles. And it's all related as well with the inflammaging that I mentioned before, and with the insulin resistance, because when you have insulin resistance, it means that most likely insulin is high. When insulin is high, most likely, it's very complex, I will simplify, but then it will drive the inflammatory processes in the body. And when I mentioned before that the age associated this immunosenescence, this is why we want to fast. We want to start these autophagy processes. Autophagy is a process in the cell. This Japanese researcher, he got a Nobel Prize for discovering this. It's basically cleaning up the cells. So you kind of rejuvenate, if I really say it very simplistic in simple language. So you rejuvenate, and it's important to do it on a regular basis, kind of put the body into the stress, acute stress, so the body will start these processes to clean the cell and regenerate. It's really important, because inflammaging, we know now that aging is kind of disease. We know that it's so important to we can now measure aging. We can measure either the biological aging, and your biological aging will be probably less than your chronological age. So we can measure the biologic age, and that is also connected to this inflammaging. So that's why this will be the reason why you would fast. Some people will say that fasting can cause that you will lose the gut bacteria. I'm not so sure, because some studies saying that you will actually it will be self-selection, the good ones will survive, but I'm not so sure. I would do fasting for the reason to reduce the inflammation, to really rejuvenate and regenerate the cell material that you need, and especially in the eye, because they have so many the RPE, the epithelial and retinal pigment epithelium. It's so sensitive. So because it's so many mitochondria, we need these processes to be in place. So fasting is something I would definitely advise, but again, with caution. Really, people should be cautious to fast prolonged hours, because they can really lose muscles. And make sure that you really eat in this eating window really nutritious meals, a lot of protein, a lot of fiber, good fat. And the best, what I do every day is 16-8, 16 hours and 16 hours fasting, 8 hours eating window. I did 3-day fast too, and I loved it, but it's maybe once a year I do it. But it's like, I get into another level. You change completely, perception of world, because suddenly the body has no food. So you have more sensation of everything. So that's something amazing, but I would not suggest people to fast at all 3 days without, supervision of a physician or something. There are also places that you can do fast. There is this institute in Germany, in Constant Lake. I don't know, but there are places where you can do fast. But 16-8 is easy. I always tell people 12 hours eating, 12 hours fasting. You can start there and then slowly increase the hours. And also now, from the Institute of Salk Institute, Sachin Panda, he did so many research paper on connection with fasting, circadian rhythm, and eye health and overall health. So it also does matter when you eat. It should be when the sun is out. You should not have this eating window like late at like just eating once a day at night. This will be not ideal, because we need to kind of wake up the body with the food as well. So early in the morning, and then you can choose how you fit the eating window into your day. Some people like to skip breakfast. Some people like to skip dinner. So you have to choose. But this is something I tell all my patients, diabetic, AMD, everybody needs to fast. But really, be mindful of the muscles. And really, strength training is so important.
That is great advice, especially as we lose muscle when we are getting older. So we have to be even more, because people, I don't know about you, but I'm like, why are you so healthy? Why don't you care so much? And it's almost like just the base minimum of what we're doing is just to kind of keep where we are. We're not actually improving unless we actually crank up the game, so to speak. So thank you. We're out of time. We have a couple of questions on YouTube. And I also want you had like, maybe your top 5 tips what people should do. Should we do that now? And then I look if there's any questions that you haven't covered yet. But so just kind of summarize everything that you've been talking about. What are the key important things for people to do?
Okay, so if you are depending when you are, if you are still on the sugar hook and you're eating chips, I would start with the methodology that I would say DRRN. So define, replace, regenerate, and nourish. You start there. You have to define what is in your house, clean the pantry of the bad food, all packaged food. I would take away and replace it with the nutrient food, PFF that we talk, and fiber, and the fermented food. And then focus on the gut. Really important is to have really good diet, rich in all these nutrients that your previous speaker was talking about: lutein, zeaxanthin, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin E, all these. I don't want to spend time with that, but those are also the polyphenols are really important. A lot of these leafy greens like parsley, coriander, like cilantro and all these dark green herbs and vegetables are really important. Broccoli, peas, corn, egg yolk are all good. And also keep in mind that we have, depending on what is in your gut, will be also influence the how we metabolize and how we that will help us create the nutrients like vitamin B12. So it's a really important to always think of your gut. And I will again say that the wheat, seed, and feed. So you have to take off the bad guys and really focus on the fiber. And then if you need help with physician or with some practitioner, do it, because you will do it once, you will do it properly, and it will be shortcut. Instead of doing Zoe and doing this and that, you will spend a lot of money and you will not have results because they will not be personalized. And last thing I would say, yes, definitely fasting. I would circadian rhythm that we rhythm we didn't talk about, but you talk about it before somebody else, is something that is super important. Having in the eye correct ray of light and a good time of day. You know, in the morning blue, yes, in the evening blue, not. And things is so important. And also omega-3, omega-6, and really it's all boils down. When I was talking about this with Professor Lustig, when I met him in London, I said, so what do you think about all this, you know, age-related macular degeneration and high glycemic diet? He said, at the end, it will be all scavenger hunt for, free radicals. So everything that we can do to reduce the oxidative stress and have anti-inflammatory diet, this will help us to really has a high effect on the RPE, and this will really influence the AMD, the progression. Or so this is the coin that I got from Mark Hyman. It's so old, but it's a hurt or heal. So I would say the most important is that realize that what you eat, you will crave. So if you eat good diet, you will be doing better and better choices by the time. And really think of your gut that influencing everything in the body, also your eyes. So yeah, very lot of things, right? But yeah, I think that's most important. Basically, feed the gut, as Professor Lustig would say, protect the liver, feed the gut. I would agree with that. Just feed the good bacteria, because they run the show in the body.
Well, that was so interesting. Thank you so much. And there was lots of comments on YouTube, not really any questions, but lots of comments about the omega-3 fatty acids and everything. So yeah, I would love to also, I would have so many more questions. I'm like, LASIK, how is that, with corneal and gut eye microbiome and all these kind of cuts that we often do in our body, and surgeries, are they really necessary? Can they also have dangerous effects? But that's another topic for another day. So yeah, it can hurt or heal, right? That's something that also helps me remember. There's always sometimes I think the hardest thing sometimes could be the social life, like when we go to conferences and it's all health professionals, everybody is on the same page, and then you go into the quote unquote normal life and everybody's like, God, why do you have so many issues? Like, why, and it's like, I don't have the issues. I'm working on being just like we used 100 years ago, right? My mom often says, well, I don't care about this food organic. We never did this. When I'm like, Mom, when you were born in the 1930s, everything was organic,
That's right.
So she, it's like, we are living in a different world right now. And so anyway, we have to come to a close. Thank you so much. That was really, really great. And how can people find you? I think we have all the links there, but what's the best way? I know you're in the UK, you're working in an eye hospital in the UK, but how can people connect with you? What's the best way to connect with you?
Just, I think still mysugarstop.com is the best way. I'm on Instagram under my name, but yeah, mysugarstop, they find everything. mysugarstop.com, if they Google it, they find it. And yeah, anything I can help with, I will be happy to answer. Yeah.
Thank you. And I know you just gave a talk to your colleagues, other ophthalmologists. So I'm so, grateful for you as a pioneer to, to just educate also the other eye care professionals, because too many times, you know, I hear from my clients, they go to a doctor that doesn't believe in any of this and just kind of dismisses this. And having more eye doctors and ophthalmologists being aware of these things, and even if they're not fully trained, at least understanding that is something they need to do, and maybe send somebody to a functional medicine practitioner or somebody, right? So thank you so much for being here and changing the world of ophthalmology to a more holistic. It's really important. I think it's really important that we do that.
Kind, Claudia. Thank you.
All right. Goodbye, YouTube. We
Thank
see
you
next week.